Okay, hi everybody. Welcome. This is the first day of my 5-day home practice challenge. It's called Mood Boost. And I have been preparing for this for about a month now. I'm really excited. Today's finally the day we're going to get to practice together. So I try to come on about 15 minutes ahead of time just so everybody can find me. I'm on multiple platforms right now. I'm live streaming on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Don't ask me how I figured that out because I don't think I could tell you. But anyway, I'm using a platform called StreamYard that seems to be helpful. I'm on Instagram. I'm on just the audio is my phone. So, and I have to check and make sure I got the audio right for everything else too. But the audio is just my phone. So if the quality's not good, head over to Facebook or YouTube. Hang on a second while I just double check things. The reason I come on early is just to make sure everything's fine. And I forgot to check my microphone. Camera's right. Let me just check my microphone. Oh yeah, see, there we go. Let's check to this one. Microphone. Okay. Oops, nope. Here we go. Okay, so that might change my mic. I hope it changed my mic. So as you can see, I'm still working out the technology. Hey, I see a bunch of folks are on, so welcome. It's so nice to have you here. If you're here, leave a comment, and leave a comment not only because it's nice to leave a comment and tell people where you're from, but also leave a comment about the practice, because if you do that, if you leave any comment about the practice, and if you tag a friend in your comment, then you will be entered into the prize drawing. Actually, you don't even have to tag a friend. If you tag a friend, we enter you twice. But just enter the contest because we are going to do prizes. I'll talk about those in a few minutes. I just want to make sure the tech is okay. And Stacy, if you're there, if you can send me a text message if there's any problem, that would be great. Okay, so welcome. I'm excited about this challenge. I've been working with mental health for a long time. I've been working with mental health professionals at the Mountain Area Health Education Center. I've been seeing clients for more than like 20 years, but working at the education center for about 12 years and sharing these wonderful practices, these asana and meditation pranayama practices that can really help people improve their mental health, improve their outlook. And this is such an important time right now. I put it out to my list, you know, like, I'm going to do this challenge and what do you think? And what do you want me to work on? And I was kind of overwhelmed by the responses, and many of them were about stress and anxiety, but that's the big thing right now. And then also being hopeful and positive, that was another big one that came out. So that's what I love working with. I did want to say one thing about nervous system focused yoga, because that's what I teach. And that's that, yoga, there's so many different kinds of yoga out there. I was at 2 conferences over the weekend. That's the beauty of being online for conferences. You can go to 2, right? So I was at 2 conferences over the weekend. And one of the things I noticed about the yoga is that there's so many wonderful people out there teaching wonderful sort of feel-good practices, like do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that. And doesn't it feel good? And yeah, it does. It feels great. And what I would suggest, I didn't say but, I said and what I would suggest is that when you really understand how to use asanas, pranayama, meditation for the nervous system, it's different. And I didn't make this stuff up. I mean, I learned a lot of it through Gary Kraftso, through Vinny Yoga, and the Yoga Chikitsa that comes from, Yoga Chikitsa means yoga therapy, that comes through Desikachar and Krishnamacharya. And so I learned that, and I built on it from things I also learned by studying. For example, I studied some Feldenkrais, I've studied some Qigong. I've also studied with Bengali tantric practitioners that have a slightly different approach, but complementary. So many of these things that I teach come from, it's not eclectic, it's integrated. And they come from years of understanding and studying how to put things together. So it's not just like, here's yoga that's good for your mood. It's how do you put it together to create a certain effect on the nervous system. And that being said, we don't all have the same nervous systems, do we? You know, so when I'm teaching a group like this, we've had more than 2,000 people sign up for this challenge. I don't know how many people are going to come today, but there'll probably be a few hundred or so, and people watch the replay. And so everybody has a different nervous system, right? And the practices I'm going to teach you, I think, follow the 80-20% rule, which is 80% of what I'm going to teach you will kind of have the intended effect on 80% of the people about 80% of the time. And then there's 20% of the people, 20% of the practices and the people and the time that it doesn't have that effect on. So there's no sort of like one protocol for how you teach yoga for depression or yoga for anxiety. It's much better to individualize things. And that being said, there also are certain things that can be really helpful for many people. And that's what I hope that you get out of these practices. So we have 5 practices coming up this week, 9 o'clock every day. I'll be here at 8:45. That's Eastern time in the United States. I'll be here at 8:45 Eastern time every day, just chatting about different things. We're going to be doing a contest. I love giving things away. So I'll be doing a drawing at 8:55 every morning, so 5 minutes before it gets started. Just be here for the drawing. If you want to enter the drawing, again, all you have to do is leave a comment about the practice. We're going to collect all those. And then we put them together into a list, and then we pick a winner. And so leave a comment about the practice. If you want to be entered twice, tag a friend. So, and then, we also have some other fun things happening. There's about 600, there's a little more than 600 people that belong to the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society and this is all part of our birthday celebration that we're in the middle of right now. So, anyway, there's about 600 people. So when we get to 650, we're going to give away 2 3-minute eggs, those foam yoga blocks. And when we get to 700, we're going to give away 2 more. So, so definitely, join, look at the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society. If you want to join, great. If you don't want to join, this practice is yours, and that all these practices will stay up on the various platforms through July 3rd. There's a couple other things I want to make sure I talk about. We have about 9 minutes. So if you're here, fantastic, get a mat. If you don't have a mat, hey, you can practice on a blanket, or on the floor. When you come up to standing poses, practice on the floor. Before sticky mat, I was teaching probably right when sticky mats got created in the early 90s, or at least I was practicing that. And I didn't really start teaching till 95, so there were some sticky mats around then. But what we used to do was we put the blanket down, then you practice on the floor on your blanket. And then when you stand up, you move the blanket out so your feet are sticky. I mean, that was normal yoga practice back in the 80s and 90s. So sticky mats are a new thing. If you don't have a sticky mat, that's okay. You can still practice with me. So here's a few other things I wanted to tell you. Make sure you know June 21st to 25th. Oh, and happy International Day of Yoga, by the way. Today's International Yoga Day, so happy International Yoga Day. 21st to the 25th, 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll be here each day for a 30-minute practice. You are welcome to join me. If you sign up for the challenge, we will send you the stick figure scripts of each practice. So you'll get one each day after the practice, because it'll take me a little while to script it. And those are yours to keep forever. The classes will stay up until July 3rd, so you're welcome to watch them as many times as you'd like. We have prizes, as I mentioned. If you join the challenge before Thursday or before, you can join on Thursday, you'll get the stick figures. But why not join now? You can watch the replay whenever you want. If you can't be here at 9, please comment, right? I'd say when you comment once, we enter you in the draw. If you tag a friend, we enter you twice. The sale for the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society goes on until June 30th. Oh, let me tell you about some of the prizes that we're having. Today's practice, if you comment on it, you will be entered to win a Subtle Yoga tote bag. I don't have any prizes with me, but they're all at Stacy's house. So anyway, we have a little tote bag with the Subtle Yoga logo on it. It's cute. They're white, good for shopping or the farmer's market or whatever. Tomorrow the prize is a Subtle Yoga tea mug. And tomorrow's practice, we're going to be working with the breath, by the way. So please join me tomorrow. Wednesday, I think Wednesday's practice is the gut-brain connection. So join me Wednesday. If you join Wednesday, if you comment Wednesday, you could win a water bottle. Thursday, we're giving away 2 3-minute eggs, which are my favorite yoga props. And I can't believe I don't have any with me, but it's because we just moved back from New Zealand. So, but anyway, they're like oval shaped blocks. They're wonderful. We're giving away a pair of those on Thursday. And Friday, we're giving away my course called the Yoga and Neuroscience Connection. So that's kind of fun too. You can enter every single day. You can be entered as twice per day, and we'll have a lot of fun giving away the prizes. So we've got about 4 minutes till we get started. Please get ready, get your mat, whatever you need. We're gonna jump on the mat soon. I start right at 9 o'clock. I finish right at 9:30. Well, give me 1 or 2 minutes just in case, but around that time. And one of the things I really wanted to sort of convey with this challenge is that if you show up every day for 5 days, I can't guarantee it, but I'm pretty sure, like I would say I'm like 95% sure, you will feel some shift in your nervous system. So showing up every day can really help to make a shift, and can really help in terms of starting to see the benefit of subtle practices. Here's the thing about subtle practices. Sometimes you're just like, I don't know what that did. That didn't do it. I've had people say to me before, and these were very motivating comments. I've had people say to me before, what does this do for me? I don't feel anything. What's it doing? It doesn't do anything. Which I remember just being like, oh my God, I have to learn how to explain this. And so when people say that, particularly after one experience, my response has now become, and I learned this from my teacher, Gary Krafsa, my response has now become something like, it's very difficult to make any judgment about these practices based on one experience. So if you could do it 5 times, I think you'll have a deeper experience. Now, there are people who, could do one class and they're like, I'm sold. That's amazing. I'm sold. But more often people are like, I don't really get anything out of this. Like when I hyperventilate and do Kundalini yoga, I notice something right away. Or when I do vinyasa and I sweat, I know I get something right away out of this practice. And just, maybe it's kind of boring. Sometimes people think like that. Other people are like, it's not boring, but sometimes that's the experience. So I usually say to people, give it a chance, give it a try. Why? Because our whole culture is going in the direction of fast, more, more, more. So of course, fast yoga, hot yoga, hyperventilating yoga is going to be in that direction, which is a hyperstimulated state that unfortunately is the state of our culture, right? So when you shift gears and go in the opposite direction, not only is it a revolutionary act, not only is it an act of profound self-care, not only is it, can it shift the trajectory of your life, it also can feel a little weird and a little different and a little like, I don't know if this does anything for me. So that in that sense, like you really have to give it a chance. Give it a chance. And that's why I'm doing that's why I do these challenges. This is the 3rd one that I've done. It's only the first one this year, but I did 2 in the fall. So, that I love doing the challenges because it gives people a little taste of how 30 minutes a day can make a profound shift in your nervous system. And it's not like regular yoga, it does something a little different. There are aspects that are like regular. I don't even know what regular yoga means, to tell you the truth, because there's so many different kinds, but I would suggest this way of practicing has sort of its unique benefits, and I hope you experience them during the challenge. It's nervous system yoga. That's another thing that I like to tell folks. That's what we're practicing. This is nervous system yoga. It's different than fitness. It's exercise as opposed to exercise. And today's practice, we have just 1 minute, so I'm going to give it a quick intro. Today's practice is called the brain boost practice. One of the things that we know from the research literature, particularly with depression, is oftentimes there's more asymmetries in the brain than are structurally than are typically seen in folks who don't have depression. We also know that when we can connect the hemispheres better via the corpus callosum, we can do that by sending messages across the hemispheres. That's the front brain, right? We know that that can be helpful for improving depression. And it can also have an effect on anxiety because, you know, the number one cause of depression is actually hypothalamic pituitary adrenal exhaustion. You know, when that system is that, which is the stress system, is overstressed, is constantly stressed, and you're constantly asking for more and more out of your hypothalamus, your pituitary adrenals, that often we collapse into a state of exhaustion that is sometimes accompanied by a poor mood or depression. So, you know, and some of the functional medicine people call this adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue. And there's a strong correlation between that exhaustion and depression. So sometimes people have this kind of hyper anxious state that then leads into depression. These are not separate diagnoses necessarily, not necessarily. So I'm very mindful and careful that I'm not being in the, I wanted to explain that, but we are not going into the realm of therapy today, of yoga therapy. This is yoga for wellness or yoga for health promotion. So improving the mood. And the mechanism that we're going to use is a lot of cross-lateral and contralateral stimulation. Cross-lateral going across the midline. We'll start with some of that. And contralateral opposite arms and legs. We'll be doing tons of that today. So these are things that can work the sensory motor cortices, which are right here in the brain, that they communicate across the corpus callosum and create just a more optimal function of the brain. Of course, doing it once is not enough, but you have to repeat, and repetition is one of the ways that the brain changes. Okay, let's get started. It's about time. So come on back to your mat. If you're on Instagram and you can't hear me well, hop on over to Facebook or YouTube, okay? Because I'm live there too, and the mic is better there. So I want to start with this idea of agitation, feeling agitated, and you see me starting to shake, and you might want to shake with me if you like. Let your hands shake out a little bit, bounce around a little. So this idea of when you're feeling like, I don't want to practice slow, don't tell me to put my legs up the wall. Yeah, because that's not where your nervous system is right now. Well, yours might be, but you know, that's when you feel like that, it's often because that's not where the nervous system is. So I like to discharge some of that excessive energy, and this is a good way. Shake it out, shake out your hands. I'm just bouncing a little bit. And one thing that's really nice, a lot of times we don't think about our face, right? So let your face get really droopy and soft, and you can just give it a little sound, like you're 3 years old or 4 years old. Remember doing this when you were a kid? You know, that making those sorts of sounds, we socialize our children out of them, and yet they can be really helpful for discharging energy. And then maybe you want to shake your arms out to the side, and you could keep going with and by the way, this could be really small or it could be really big. So it's up to you. You kind of gauge where your body feels like being today. If you don't feel like shaking, that's just fine too. You can just come into a gentle mountain pose. Maybe shake a leg and another leg. We would do both legs, but that's the advanced levitating class. Haha. Okay. After doing a little shaking, we'll do a little, I like to call this empty coat sleeve. Separate your feet. And this is cross lateral movement. We're going to add some orienting response here. So let your eyes sweep around the room with you. See everything around you, open eyes, everything around you. What's far, what's close, what are the textures, what are the colors? And let your head go even further. So you're looking maybe 360 degrees all around, see everything. If it gets overwhelming, just, you know, don't worry about it. Close your eye. You can always titrate the experience, right? Go into it and then do something else. Now, what if you keep your head still? Well, especially if you're feeling dizzy or anything from that, keep your head still and let the arms keep going. And by the way, we're doing something else here for the adrenals. Did you notice? We're giving a little tap to the kidney area in your back. Keep tapping away there. And this time, what if your head goes, it stays neutral, right? But this time, what if your head turns back again, like we were doing before? And notice how that's different, to let the head go as opposed to keep it neutral. You might like one way better than the other. Okay, just a couple more here. And coming back, let it slow down, just kind of naturally. Breathe in through your nose or your mouth and exhale through your mouth. Do that again as you come to stillness. Inhale through your nose. And let's do one more. Inhale your arms up. And exhale with a bend your knees. And again. A couple more. Just bending my knees and throwing my arms down. Last one. And come back to neutral. So we'll take a moment in mountain pose and notice sensations, like some of the felt sensations of tingling in your fingers, perhaps, how your shoulders feel. Okay, so here's our first kind of asana, if you like, the mountain pose. Now, as you inhale, let the arms come out to the side. Let the right arm go all the way up over your head, but the left arm just stays neutral to shoulder height. And then when you exhale, float back down. Now we're going to do that same thing, but this time the left arm is going to go all the way up. The right arm just goes halfway. And on the exhale, float back down. Now, next thing we'll add, if you want to try, because it's really good for your brain to keep adding stuff, is lift your heels. Right arm goes all the way up, left arm just shoulder height. You feel how it's a little bit confusing to your brain when you exhale, float back down, which is the whole point. Like, what am I doing? So the heels lift and my right arm goes halfway, my left arm goes all the way. We're going to add one more thing and do it again. So this next thing we'll add is follow the tips of your fingers as best as you can with your eye, with your peripheral vision. So this time my right arm is going. I'm just watching my hands and arms move with my peripheral vision on both sides, okay? Your eyes are this weird little part of your brain that's outside of your skull. Okay, when you finish that one, then we'll do two, both arms go up, lifting up on your toes. And the symmetry after the asymmetry really helps the brain to integrate what you just did. And this next time your arms go up, stay here. We'll stay for 3 breaths. If you want to interlace your fingers and turn them up to the ceiling, you can. If you just want to keep the arms soft, you can. So as you inhale, pause at the top of your inhale. 1 or 2 counts. And then as you exhale, soften, draw the lower abdomen in, soften the elbows, lower the heels a little bit. Do it again. Reach, 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 pause for 1 or 2 counts. If you have to tiptoe around, that's okay. Then soften a bit. Last one, reach, 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 pause for 1 or 2. And then release everything back down. Good, and take a moment here because the pause is just as important as the pose. So take a moment here to notice how did your body respond to what we just did. Excuse me. Okay, please turn, well, however you want to be on your mat. I'm going to turn on my mat. I'm going to step my right foot forward and my left foot back, okay? Right hand goes on the waist. And now here what we want to do is get some sense that the left arm and the right knee work together. When your right knee bends, it makes your left arm reach up. That's the idea. Okay? Now, exhale completely. The lower belly is firm. And then use your inhale to lift the ribs up out of the hips as you bend your right knee and the left arm goes up. Then exhale, float back down. You got it? So the inhale is propelling the movement. It's reaching, lengthening your spine, reaching the ribs up out of the hips. And when you exhale, you float back down. Go slower if you can, right? But don't get air hungry, right? If you have to take an extra breath, that's no problem. We'll do 2 more. So also you can add this idea of watching from the periphery, right? So you bring a little more awareness into it. This time, stay in the pose. Okay, exhale, firm the belly, release your right hand, and use your inhale to lift the right arm up. Then the exhale, soften the elbows. Okay, on your inhale, 1 or 2 counts pause like we did before. Exhale, soften. Do that again. Last one. And then straightening your front leg, release your arms down. And we'll move from here. On the inhale, lift the left arm up. On the exhale, fold about halfway forward, soften the right knee a bit. And then as you inhale, lengthen and come back up. So imagine there's a connection between, just like we were doing before, connection between your right leg and your left arm. You could go a little further if you want. Just mindfully opening up the back of the leg here. 2 more times. Just nice and slow and mindful. Use your inhale to lift you up. Okay, this time stay. And if you like, you can release your right hand down. Maybe you're using blocks. Maybe you have your hands resting on your thigh or your shin or your ankle. It's okay to have a softness in your right leg. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Just working into the back of the right leg. And then when you're ready, float it back up to warrior 1. And exhale, float the arms down, step your back leg forward. You can do a little wiggle and jiggle if you like, or you can come right into mountain pose and take a moment and notice, how does your breath feel right now? How does your body feel? And then please step your left foot forward and your right foot back. Place your left hand on your waist and then get that smooth movement. The nervous system loves smooth, fluid movement. That's what the nervous system, like, it makes it wake up and go, oh yeah, I can be in that more parasympathetic state. When you're ready, inhale, float up. And the smoothness of the movement also, it catches the attention, right? It catches your mind's attention. And paying attention is one of the most important pieces of neuroplasticity, is this awareness. So we got 2 more. On the inhale, you're lifting the right arm, bending the left knee, lengthening the spine. Last time. This time we'll stay in the pose. Okay, exhale completely. Let your left arm float down. On your inhale, let it float back up. And then start to work your breath here a little bit. On the exhale, you're going to draw the belly in, soften your elbows. As you inhale, think about lengthening your spine, not bending back. Pause for 1 or 2 counts. Let's soften again. Let's do it again. Think about lengthening. 1 more time. Get that spine a little longer. Make your inhale really full and help you get longer. And then on the exhale, release your arms down. Straighten your left leg. Let your left hand come back to your waist. As you inhale, lift the right arm. And then on the exhale, start to go maybe halfway. It's nice to just start and notice what's going on with your muscles. If you haven't done any asana this morning, or whenever time it is in the world for you, you may want to just take your time here and explore the back of your leg rather than just kind of, going in there all gangbusters. Let's do a couple more. Use that inhale to lengthen your spine back up. Feel that connection between your right hand and your left foot. This time we'll stay here. If you want, you can take your left hand down too. And, the inhale, you kind of work it a little bit. So the inhale is I make my spine a little longer, my leg a little straighter. And the exhale, I soften and draw my belly in. Okay, last one. And then on your inhale, lengthen to come all the way back up. And exhale your arms down. Then step your back foot forward. Okay, how are you doing? You could shake out a little if you want, or you could just come right back to a mountain pose and kind of tune in. Do you notice what's going on in your nervous system a little bit here? little bit of maybe some sharpness. And if you don't notice it, that's okay too. Just be open to noticing that there's some shift. Yeah. Okay, take your right foot forward again and left foot back. Sometimes I call this one the Charleston. It's not really the Charleston. It's just kind of like a half Charleston. It's actually just a combination of warrior one and Ekapada. I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's one of those one-legged balance poses. Okay, so for this one, the arms stay down. And on the inhale, we're gonna take the left arm up. Stay here as you exhale, okay? And then on your next inhale, you're gonna switch arms and take your left knee up. And pause for just a sec. And on the exhale, float back down. Switch arms, okay? You got it? So inhale, you're gonna come up into that right foot, switch arms, pause for a second, or maybe 2 seconds, and then switch as you go back down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, reaching up, pausing, and exhale back down. And this time as you come up into the pose, stay here. And then if you want, some days balance is easier than others. If you want, on your next inhale, take your left arm up. If you want to make it harder, straighten your left leg. Take another breath, or another pose. One more breath. And then release everything down, release your foot back down. Give your standing leg a little shake out. And do you see how that's like a coordination? You got to do proprioception and interoception and balance, vestibular, all that stuff at the same time, right? So take a moment, notice, how does your breath feel? Get ready for the other side. Okay, left foot forward, right foot back. Left hand comes to your waist, or sorry, both hands are down by your side. As you inhale, bend your left knee, the right arm goes up. And then stay here as you exhale. And then we're going to switch the breathing. So as you inhale, you're using the inhale to lift your right leg, left arm. And then on the exhale, switch. Okay, try it again. Use your inhale to lift right knee, left arm, like they're connected. So just kind of visualize yourself like a marionette here, connecting your arms and your legs, opposite arms and legs. Okay, this is the last one. We're going to stay on this one. And by the way, I should have mentioned this before. If you have shoulder stuff going on, you can always do cactus, right, rather than straight arm. So this is fine too if you want to take both arms up. And I forgot to mention on this side, but at the top of your inhale, just a little pause. Last one. And then release it all down. Feel free to give that standing leg a little shake out. And then find your mountain pose. And take a moment to breathe and notice. Just kind of tune in a little bit of the energy moving through the system. Okay, please come down to tabletop. And the option here is tabletop inhale, child's pose exhale, or tabletop inhale, down dog exhale. And if you want, you can combine them. Right? You could do tabletop, child's pose, tabletop, down dog, or you can just keep working tabletop, inhale, down dog, exhale if you like. Now, next time you come into either pose, either child or down dog, you can stay there. Now, the trick, in particularly those of you who are staying in down dog, the trick here, the fun way to work this pose, I think, is lengthen your breath. So can you make your inhale 5 counts and make your arms longer and your spine longer and your legs longer, and then make your exhale 5 counts and draw the belly in. Can you do that? Maybe 2 more times. If you're in child's pose, you can try this too. And what's really nice in child's pose, particularly talking about this idea of adrenal fatigue and an exhaustion that often leads to mood issues. What's really nice in child's pose is You can just be in the pose or bringing your hands to your low back. Visualize the prana, the life force energy riding on your breath and bringing a healing force to that lower back kidney area. Okay, we'll do one more breath before we move on. And as you're ready, coming down to child's pose. Okay, I got a couple things I want to do, a couple more things I want to do. The first one from child's pose, and you can kind of slide your hands in a bit here. Start to smoothly slide up to tabletop and extend your right arm and left leg. And then when you exhale, smoothly take it back down. Now, for some people, it may be fun and interesting and more accessible to just lift the arm like a cactus and lift the leg a little bit, right? If you have knee stuff, of course you want to pad your knees, right? Or you can even do this with your hands on a chair, standing up. So we're just mindfully taking our time and exploring the relationship between the opposite limbs and the movement. And can you get it really smooth, and can you coordinate it with your breath? So many things to think about, which is why it's good for your brain. So if it feels a little confusing, that's good. Your brain's working. Opposite arm and leg, take your time. You can always have a little pause at the top there too. Okay, last one. And as you finish, just coming back down to rest again for a moment. Take a nice long breath and then slide forward onto your belly. We're going to do some contralateral cobra, locust, combo, platter, saluting. Okay, so don't eat cobras and locusts, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we're putting it together. So the hands on your low back with the palms facing the ceiling. So right arm sweeps around front and salutes as the left leg goes up. That's an in-breath. And then sweep it back down. Okay. And then left arm, right leg, salute. And back down. Now we'll add something. Right arm, left leg, move slow. Pause for 1 or 2. Exhale back down. Left arm, right leg. You may be going faster than me, by the way, which is just fine, or slower, just fine. Okay, we're going to add one more thing. Right arm, left leg, pause for 1 or 2. Now, this time, when you come back down, turn your head and put your right cheek on the mat. And then left arm, right leg. Same thing when you come back down. Turn your head, put the left cheek on the mat. Okay, right arm, left leg again. And turn. And there's that little pause at the top, right? Which is giving us a little more brahmana, a little more energizing. And then we're going to finish up with 2, both arms, both legs. Stay here for an extra breath. You can put your forehead down. Last time, both arms, both legs. Stay here for an extra breath. And exhale it back down. Very nice. Go ahead and roll over onto your back. And here you might wish to bring your knees into your chest. Just have a little side-to-side rock. And then bring your feet back down flat again. Okay, so here's the next one. We're going to lift the hips and the arms just towards the ceiling, fingers towards the ceiling, and then exhale back down. Okay, now next time, lift the arms, lift the hips, but the right arm keeps going all the way to the floor behind you. And then when you exhale, it picks up the left arm, they come down together. Again, hopefully a little bit of work there for your brain. So this time, right arm stays, left arm keeps going. You can, as it goes, you can rotate it externally so that the palm faces the midline. Doesn't matter how high your hips go, by the way. That's not what we're working on here. We're working on the movement, being really smooth and coordinating that. Turn the right palm in this time. Exhale, floating back down. Okay, one more with the left hand going up all the way. And as I mentioned, you could turn the palms to the midline if you like for your shoulders. You can always do this with cactus too. And this time, both arms all the way up over your head onto the floor, and stay for a couple of breaths. See if you can do your 5 counts. And on your next exhale, loading it back down. Again, feel free to hug your knees into your chest here. We have one more pose. So arms by your side. And for this, well, maybe 2. But anyway, for this one, we're going to take the right arm up and the left foot. Now you want to flex the left foot. And that's an inhale. And on the exhale, float it back down. And I know some people feel like, oh, I'm not getting anything out of this. If you want to feel a little more, feel the burn, you can always take your leg straight instead of up. But it is a different pose. Here, we're just mostly mindfully trying to connect those strings between the toes and the fingers. And you notice that your arm has to move a lot and your leg doesn't move as much. So your arm is going faster than your leg, which is also good for your brain. So left arm, right leg. That's an inhale. Exhale, floating back down. Let's do one more right arm, left leg. Flex that foot. Smooth moving together. About 5 counts for each movement, inhale and exhale. Could be a little faster, a little slower. It's your own breathing pace. This is a chance for you to explore your breath and movement, not to follow my breath and movement, but to just use it as a guide for your own. Now, both arms, both legs, with an inhale. We'll have a pause up here at the top of the inhale for 1 or 2 counts. And you're working it here, right? Arms and legs are working. The fingers are reaching, the heels are reaching. Let's do one more of those. Pause, and then interlace your fingers. If you like, you can also just leave the arms up here. Interlace your fingers, turn the palms up. Exhale, soften your knees and elbows. Draw the belly in as you inhale. Reach, pause for 1 or 2. Everything gets straighter. And as you exhale, use your belly to help your diaphragm release the breath. Inhale 1 or 2. I'm sorry, pause for 1 or 2. You can use a little ujjayi sound that helps. Last one. And then on the exhale, release everything down. Let your arms come out to the side with the palms facing down. Let the hips, the feet come a little wider. Let the knees go right while the head looks left. Pause at the end of your exhale, inhaling back up. Doesn't matter how far your knees go down, by the way. And then head turns right, knees go left. Taking your time, exploring the space. This is another one I like to do, the look around the room with. Twists are great for that. And that activates what's called the orienting response. It's at the atlas and axis in your cervical vertebra. And it just makes us feel a little bit safer, tunes us into what's in the environment, can help the nervous system calm down at the level of the brainstem that we're not necessarily even conscious of. Okay. Now it's really nice after a twist to so when you finish the one that you're on, it's really nice after a twist to do a little bit of forward bending again. So just hug those knees in, give them a nice hug. Doesn't have to be strong, just a nice one. Take another breath here. Okay, we're going to get ready for Shavasana. I always sit up for this part because you'll hear me better. But you are welcome to lie down in Shavasana. We have about 2 minutes for it. Really important to at least do a 2-minute Shavasana, but if you could do a little longer, that's even better. Let things go, get a little softer. Tune in to the peripheral part of your nervous system, the tingly feelings in your fingers, the tingly feelings in your toes. The tingly feelings in your face. And then find what you can soften. So can you soften your abdomen a bit more here? Can you soften the muscles in your face a bit? What else can you soften? The mind starts to wander away. That's what it does. So you gently bring it back. Allow it to soften a bit more. Anything that you can find in your body, let it go. I want to thank you for joining me today. Some of you may have time to stay in Shavasana a little longer, so I highly encourage that. And some folks may want to come out right now, so take your time, roll to your side, come up, sit for a few moments, see how you're doing. I need to end the video because we're right at 30 minutes. Please join me tomorrow. We'll give away prizes. We got another great practice for you. And really, really grateful to have you join me today. Also, I want to remind you to visit our website and check out the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society, where I teach live every week. Take care. Bye.